Okay, guys, me here, Andrew Clement, everybody's favorite asshole. Yep, even more so than Anderson. Anyways, guys, today I'm going to talk more about Robert Roode, AMW, beer money. You've already seen my report. I went through the history of Chris Harris and why he left, why he was fired, and then why he was fired from WWE, and then why he was let go from NWA. Now he's back in TNA. Who is responsible for Chris Harris returning to TNA? Who is responsible for Beer Money splitting up? Who is responsible for Jay Lethal's being released? All these answers have been figured out. The only person who looks like that could have possibly had released Jay Lethal was Jeff Jarrett. Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, Dixie Carter were huge on him. Even Jeff Jarrett was big on him, but he looks to be the most likely source. However, it is not true. The person who has let go of Jay Lethal is TNA's new management team. This something Judy something, if I remember correctly, whatever the case may be. It is apparently her doing of releasing Jay Lethal. Why, I do not know, so please do not ask me for an answer. I will not have it for you yet. Beer Money being split up. Whose idea is this? It is TNA's new office. Once again, this new lady. Why is Beer Money splitting up, and why didn't Beer Money split up before? Back in 2008, if anybody recalls, I went to No Surrender here in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada, and I actually had a picture taken with the TNA title and Dixie Carter. Dixie Carter and I got into about a 10-minute conversation, and actually Beer Money had been brought up into our conversation. Beer Money was actually supposed to last for about a month, possibly two at max. Beer Money's idea was actually originally created by Dixie Carter's husband. He absolutely loved the idea of having a rich guy from Wall Street, obviously a gimmick, but a rich guy, made all his money off Wall Street, teaming up with a drunken cowboy hick. The idea was hilarious. He loved the idea, and that's what had happened. The storylines, the shirt ideas, everything that had to do with Beer Money was Dixie Carter's husband's idea. He, known as Surge. It was his idea. The thing was, that told you right away. That told me right away that Beer Money would not be splitting up anytime soon, since Dixie Carter was the president and is still, technically speaking, the president of TNA Wrestling. Even though there is a new face, and Dixie is basically as on a leave of absence in LOA at the moment. So now why is Beer Money being split up? Well, the thing is, Robert Roode was supposed to be getting a singles push before Beer Money started, and actually probably would have gotten the TNA title. The reason why Beer Money was formed and Robert Roode's singles career was next was because Robert just couldn't get behind the fans. They booed the hell out of him, but it wasn't enough. They couldn't. The problem was he could only get over with the fans when he was a heel. He could be the biggest face in the world, and people just would not enjoy him. TNA wanted him to be able to be the biggest heel and be the biggest face that TNA could have, kind of like Mr. Anderson. But the problem was it just wasn't working. So the idea was to put him and James Storm together for a little while to try to have James' charisma and, his face, quote-unquote, babyface appearance to rub off on Robert Roode, and maybe fans would actually like Roode being a face, which that actually happened. The thing is this is the new TNA management's idea to bring back Chris Harris to give him one more try in TNA and redo America's Most Wanted. The problem I have with AMW is there's numerous problems I have with it. Half of the fan base now, I'd say almost half the fan base now in TNA doesn't really know AMW, and they never saw any of their matches unless they watched them on DVD. They didn't watch them live, they didn't know AMW during the storylines and all that kind of good stuff. So I think it's going to be hard for people to adapt to. AMW is very bland. It's two guys. One can wrestle. One can't wrestle unless he's teamed up with somebody else. They're not comedy guys. They're not opposites. It's too bland of a marketing gimmick. AMW, one of the greatest tag teams in the past decade, no doubt about that. Beer Money's better. It's just how it is. You have James Storm, a man who can wrestle both as a singles wrestler and as a tag team wrestler. Then you have Chris Harris, who has probably one of the biggest egos in wrestling today, and who couldn't hold the jockstrap of a main eventer to save his life. He's not all that great of a wrestler. He's like Batista. He's got 3 moves, and that's it. And the issue I have with bringing back Chris Harris is it's too bland. Beer Money's hilarious. Beer Money works on so many levels. They could be heels, they could be faces, it doesn't matter. So Robert Roode is going to be getting his singles career push. Now, I think this is a screw job to James Storm. I think James does deserve a singles career push. I think, in my opinion, he could be a TNA champion. If Robert Roode can be, why can't James Storm? He's just as great of a wrestler. James Storm is more marketable. He's funnier, and his character, people can relate to his character a lot easier than Robert Roode's. I honestly think James Storm could be the next Stone Cold Steve Austin when it comes to the gimmick. You know, he's a hick, he's a cowboy, he drinks, he likes to fight. I mean, he's got so many things that, or even you could even say with the APA, he's got a lot of things in common with that character lineup. You know, it's so cool. Where Robert Roode is basically JBL, but a Canadian version. It's been done. It's not that great. It's okay, but it's easier, and you could relate better to Robert Roode. You could relate better to James Storm. So here is the 2 different storylines TNA is proposing for this AMW Beer Money thing. Is AMW, well, let's put it this way. Is James Storm leaving Fortune, or is Chris Harris joining Fortune? This is up for debate. They want AMW to be heels and kick Robert Roode out of Fortune, and basically, you know, that would jumpstart and propel Robert Roode's singles career. However, the problem is, if they boot out James Storm from Fortune, you have 4 singles wrestlers now. You have AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Robert Roode, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Robert Roode, and it's I don't know. And you have those 4 guys, and they're all singles. You throw in Kaz, sorry, I guess was the 4th guy I forgot. You have 4 singles wrestlers. I think it would be smarter, but AMW are such easy to be heels. It's going to be a very tricky angle to work. You want Robert Roode to go good in his singles career and a good start, but you don't want 4 singles wrestlers in a faction. It's kind of bland and boring. The only option TNA could do in order to save Fortune's face like that is to put back together Daniels and Styles as a tag team. The problem with putting Daniels and Styles as a tag team is they're singles wrestlers, they're not tag team. Yeah, they work well together, but you would have to leave them a tag team for at least a year in order for them, to be considered a tag team. So the option they can have is Robert Roode becomes a heel and joins Hulk Hogan and Immortal because of the money factor would be the storyline. And, you have AMW, Kaz, AJ, you have AMW, Kaz, AJ Styles, and Christopher Daniels as Fortune 5, or you have Robert Roode, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, and Kaz as Fortune 4 with no tag team unless they melded back together Styles and Daniels, which then they're not really a tag team, but they would have a great feud again against AMW. These are the 2 storylines. Either have Fortune 5 or Fortune 4. That's basically what it's sitting at. Robert Roode going to be an Immortal as a heel, or is AMW going to be, you would have you would have Robert Roode, you would have AJ Styles, you would have Kaz, and then, you know, I just don't know, guys. It's a little weird. You could have Styles, Daniels, Kaz, Roode, and there's Fortune 4, or you have AMW as the heels, and then you just have singles wrestlers in Fortune. You know what I mean? It's a little strange. I think Fortune should also consist of Samoa Joe, but that's, you know, whatever. Hulk Hogan isn't really a fan of Samoa Joe ever since he went on his rampage last year backstage. But that is the current storyline. It's basically Fortune 5 with AMW as their tag team, or it's Fortune 4 with no tag team. If you don't have a tag team, you got to make Styles and Daniels a tag team, and they got to be a tag team for about a year. And they got to. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. Those are your options. I don't know what you guys think, but these are the storylines that are in TNA in the works on how they're going to figure this out. And they basically have 1 to 3 weeks in order to figure all this out, starting not this Thursday, but, you know, starting their next Impact taping. So their Impact taping, that they've done this week, this is where they have to try to figure all this out. Is it Fortune 4 or Fortune 5? How are they going to do this? How are they going to explain this? How is this storyline going to work? It's funny because this is basically the storyline I came up with a few months ago. If I didn't know any better, I'd swear TNA took that from my own channel. But anyways, there you guys go. That's all the information I have for you on that subject.